You are watching Access LaPorte County Channel 97. Coming up next is the August 25th meeting for the Michigan City Historic Preservation Commission. You can find more information for this meeting by visiting www.accesslaportecounty.org.
Call the meeting to order. We have roll call, please.
Ms. Dalton,
Here.
Ms. Matsey. Here. Ms. Haddad is absent. Mr. Hurt? Here. Ms. Bowman? I don't see her. Absent. Mr. Zimmer?
Here.
Mr. Espar?
Here.
Ms. Tejeda?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay. Correct me if I'm wrong on my pronunciation.
It was actually very good. Thanks.
Okay, all right. Ms. Wilson? Here. Mr. Hale?
Here.
Councilman Coulter? He hasn't joined us in a while. I should
No.
check in on him. Ms. Parcell?
Present.
And Wendy Bachet, yours truly, is here. Thank you.
Okay, may I have a motion to approve the agenda?
Motion to approve.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. Okay, everybody get a chance to look over their minutes from our last meeting. Does anyone have any questions or concerns?
Madam President, I have some corrections I'd like to suggest
Okay,
regarding the minutes for our last meeting of July 28th. On page 1 under item 4, the references, Ms. Haddad made a motion to approve the agenda. I think that was approve the minutes, and I think that correction should be
Okay.
made.
thank you.
And also on page 3, the sixth or fifth dot down, the paragraph that begins, Mr. Zimmer asked. I believe the reference at the very end of that, the sentence should be left rather than middle. And Mr. Zimmer, perhaps you can confirm that or correct me if I'm wrong. You recall we were talking about the door to the property at, I believe it's 813 Franklin. And the new door was to be to the left. The existing door was to the middle. I
Right.
think what you're talking about there is the door on the left.
New door will be located on the left.
And not in
Correct.
the middle. So
Yes.
perhaps-
So middle should be changed to left.
And finally, on page 4 under new business, first line, I believe that we could correct Ms. Wilson's spelling of her first name.
Thank you for listening.
Okay, anything else?
That's all I have.
Well, that's why we pay you big bucks.
Indeed.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay, Pat, would you read our statement of purpose, please?
We should have a motion to approve the minutes as corrected.
Oh, I'm sorry. I need a motion.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve the minutes as corrected. Do I hear all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. Okay, now, Miss Pat?
Okay. We read our statement of purpose, and it comes to us from 24 reasons historic preservation is good for our community. Historic preservation is good for cities. No, not just good. Historic preservation is great for cities. The reasons historic preservation is great for cities are multiple: aesthetic, symbolic, cultural, social, educational, economic, and others. We also read section 62-2 of the Michigan City Municipal Code on compliance. The erection, construction, enlargement, alteration, repair, demolition, color change, moving or maintenance of any building, structure, or appurtenance which is begun continued or maintained contrary to any provisions in this chapter is hereby declared to be a nuisance and in violation of this chapter and unlawful. Any person, whether as principal, agent, owner, lessee, tenant, contractor, builder, architect, engineer, or otherwise, who violates any provision of this chapter shall be punished as provided in section G7.
Thank you. Do we receive any correspondence?
No, ma'am.
Thank you. We're moving on to number 6, applications received for COAs.
We have COA 2025-035 714 Pine Street. And we have the applicant here as well. This is a porch, roof, and balcony repair. I'll let Deb take this one. She did a review and has been working with the applicant. And you have all of the information in your packet. But I want to say that this is a beautiful home. And Kyle the applicant, Kyle, who is here, has been in touch for many months trying to make sure that he's doing the right thing and following the rules, and has been very patient and thoughtful. And I want to say thank you. And so with that, I'm going to turn it over to Deb herself.
Thank you.
Okay, this is 714 Pine Street. It's in the Elston Grove Local and National Register Historic District of Queen Anne, built in 1902. So the proposed project is to replace the first floor porch railing, repair the roof over the first floor porch, and restore the second story porch. The owner proposes new railing system designed to look like the period in which it was built, sourcing spindles and handrails to look like what is being replaced. Porch beams and pillars to be retained and repaired. Replace porch roofing material, metal proposed due to low slope. Replace building gutters with conventional gutters. Deteriorated wood porch materials to be replaced. So the finding of fact, the deteriorated porch materials should be repaired or replaced. Replacement spindles should be of similar size and design. Composite materials could be considered if paintable and non-shiny finish. And metal porch roof would be minimally visible from the street and should be standing seam metal or flat seam. I met with the applicant a week ago Saturday on site. We talked about it. Then we had a meeting with Sue Downs, the building commissioner last week. I'm sorry. I don't know what day it is anymore. Sorry. Yes, we had a Zoom meeting, talked about it because the porch railing on the first floor, well, on all the floors, doesn't meet code. But it's not far off on the first floor, and because it's not far from the ground anyway, she's willing to let those sections remain. So we've got some photos of the actual porch. Drew, please and thank you.
Are they in the packet?
Not all of them, no. So you can see that's the historic photo before the trees got as tall as they are. You can actually see the front. It's a beautiful house. And then what we're looking at now, you can see the previous owner tried to meet code by putting that lattice railing in there, which needs to go away. And so the porch railing on the porch itself, there you get a real good picture of it. So 2 sections have been replaced with like deck railing. And then the piece across the front facing the street, and then the upper level on the porch on each side. Those are all original railings. They're 2.5-inch wide spindles. And then the lower handrail section was replaced at some point. Those are 3.5-inch. So what Sue said is that she's willing to let those railings stay. Need to replace the 2 deck railing sections with something similar. Obviously, they're not all the same. And then if we go on, you can see the second floor porch. There's the big ones. Okay, so there's the second floor porch. Obviously, lots of problems up there. Virtually everything up there is deteriorated. And so Sue said if that one is built to code, then she's willing to let the others remain. So I asked the applicant to come up with some suggestions for replacement materials, which he did. He sent several similar spindles that I think would work for that second floor porch. Also some balcony columns. They're like there were two suggestions actually. One's an ASIC material that would go over a column and you can kind of build it up to make it look similar to this. So I think that's a good solution, and ASIC is on your pre-approved list of replacement materials. They also had a suggestion of a FIPON material. And FIPON is a thinner non-structural material. It's a little more, it's very much vinyl rather than a composite. And that is not on your list of pre-approved materials, and I would suggest avoiding that. I think going with the ASIC material would be a better material for there, and I think that's more what Sue's expecting to see up there. So yeah, I think those are good suggestions. So the motion, at the time I wrote this, I didn't have the material specs yet, so you have to forgive that. But at the time I was saying perhaps a 30-day extension to get specific design and materials. We now have materials. Or the commission could approve allowing final approval by staff upon submission of specific design and materials. And he said about 4 different spindle selections. So I think any of those are good. But yeah, if I would ask the commission to maybe let staff give final approval of those similar to what's below of the ASIC or similar material, but not the FIPON.
Does anyone have any questions, either for Deb or for Kyle?
Yes, I do. So when we say similar, I guess I get a little concerned because somebody could take like a colonial something and stick it up there and say, well, that looks similar too.
These are very similar that he said, except for the FIPON one. The FIPON one was that colonial spindle that we've seen time and again. It's really narrow. I don't know the exact dimensions of it, but some of the others I saw came in a 2.5 inch and a 3.5, which would match what's on the front. And I would recommend the 2.5 because that matches what was original on the house.
All right.
So, and they've got a very similar profile.
Yeah, because these are really beautiful. And if we can't match them exactly, we need to find something that is of that time period and style and not mixing up styles.
No, these looked very similar. So
Okay.
I was impressed that he found several choices.
I have a question about the second floor roofing material. I know it states that you are looking at either standing seam or just flat seam. Have you made a decision on that? I realize that it's not as visible, but I'm just curious.
I was hoping I'd get a chance to come up to the mic. Longtime listener, first time caller. I'm just going to look up exactly what the quote that we have for the roof says. TPO adhesive is what they're calling it for the roof. And I could read through the details of exactly what it is. It's Moore Construction, who does a lot of roofing work in the area. My understanding is that they're going to try and replace the exact functionality of the roof and structure as is.
So it's like a black rubber as opposed to metal, or like what is it currently?
Correct. Yeah, it's like
Okay.
black rubber.
Okay, because I was concerned about standing seam. It would seem a little too contemporary. And
I can't say that I know the difference,
Oh.
but
a little incongruous, I think.
Yeah, and who was the contractor again?
the contractor is going to be Mitch Ficus Builders, and then the roofing is going to be Moore Construction specifically.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments?
I have a comment.
Mhm.
I would support Deb's request that the remaining items just be staff approved. Obviously, we can share the final findings and make sure that they're appropriate, but I don't think that there's a need for a delay or an extension. I mean, Kyle has done a great job of working with Deb and everybody. I think we're in good shape. Obviously, Deb has got a good eye for making sure everything is congruent. So that would just be a request to keep him moving along. We've been at this for quite some time. And I think he's done a really good job of trying to do the right thing.
First night, I had to ask a question.
Yeah. Had to have it.
Yeah, I would support that as long as Deb is part of the, final decision-making party.
Do we have a motion?
I'd like to make a motion that we approve this as presented with the exception that Deb, Deb,
The staff,
I know it's for staff, but specifically I want to say Deb as the
Herself.
staff
Yeah.
member. I want someone who has that background to make
And I
the
would have
decision
a
and not
request-
necessarily someone from the building department.
I would have a request if you would revise your motion to include both the COA number and the address.
Sorry. Right,
On the agenda, it's number 6.
right on the agenda.
That's, if you look on the agenda. it's
the
number
agenda
6.
has it.
Item number 6.
I would like to take and make the motion to accept COA 2025-035 714 Pine Street as presented, with the exception that with the spindles to be approved by staff, specifically Deb. Is it Parrell? I'm sorry.
Herself.
Okay, I have my readers on, so I don't have my distance glasses on.
It's okay.
Okay, do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Madam President,
Yes.
do we have a roll call vote when we deal with COAs? I think it'd be more appropriate. I know that a majority of the time, it seems that there's unanimity on this, but it is certainly, in my experience, not all the time. And I think it would be appropriate to have a recorded vote for these COAs. Voice votes are fine for approval of minutes and those sorts of things, but I would suggest that we do
Okay.
a roll call vote.
All right, Cherie?
Aye.
Lawrence?
Aye.
Amy?
Aye.
Pat?
Aye.
Dwayne?
Aye.
Rose?
Aye.
William?
Aye.
With Deb? I don't
I
think
don't
Deb
vote.
needs to vote.
No, I don't
Okay.
get to vote.
And I also vote aye. Okay. We'll go on to number 7.
So the following, we have several maintenance staff review COAs to report. And I will list these. The majority of them are roof repairs. 'Tis the season. I expect more. As people try to get things done before the end of the year. So we have COA 2025-031. That's at 309 East Sixth Street. That is a roof repair. No change in materials. And if I understand correctly, the change in color is not a factor. So that is COA 2025-031, 309 East Sixth Street. COA 2025-032, 1012 West 7th Street is also a roof replacement. Again, lots of hail damage people are catching up on. COA 2025-033, 519 Washington. That's a deck, fence, and parking pad in the very rear of the building. You cannot see it from anywhere. So that was staff approved. COA 2025-034 at 218 East 8th Street is a re-roof. COA 2025-036 at 1016 Wabash is a re-roof. And COA 2025-023 507 East 10th is a re-roof. We also staff approved 2 today. I'll go ahead and put them on the agenda for next time, but I want you to hear them now since we did these. 909 Franklin Street was a roof repair, and 718-26 Franklin was also a roof repair based on damage. So I just wanted to bring those to the attention. Attorney Hale, do you want to do a roll call vote on all of those, or is voice vote okay?
I think I would recommend that we do a roll call vote and be consistent with dealing with COAs.
Okay.
So you're asking for each one to be read, correct?
I think that you can just approve her report as to all of them as a group.
Okay. All right. Cherie,
Yes.
Lawrence,
Yes.
Amy,
Yes.
Pat,
Yes.
Dwayne,
Yes.
Rose,
Yes.
William,
Yes.
and I vote yes also. Thank you.
May I ask a question?
Yes.
So I'm just wondering on all of these re-roofs, is it, are you getting people that are asking, like, do they present you with the color choices and you're approving that or?
Yes, I'm looking at materials and I'm looking at color per Deb's input. Color was not as much of a factor in her opinion, and Deb, I'll let you speak for yourself since you're sitting here, as materials.
Okay.
And so I originally was asking for like color as well.
Okay.
But we have approved those that are not like color based on the recommendation. So, but we do make them do a full package, photos of the existing roof, prepared materials of what evidence of the materials they're going to use to demonstrate there's no material change.
Okay.
And Deb, I don't know if you wanted to weigh in on anything else with that.
The guidelines just talk about the material, but not the color on asphalt shingle. Now, if it's metal, there's a big conversation, but
Okay.
the guidelines address that as well. So that's something, you know, if we want to look at and there's certain colors you think are not appropriate for the historic district, then we need to make that change in the guidelines, which is a quick and easy change. But yeah, at this point, it doesn't address color on asphalt shingle.
Okay. So that was my, the point of my question, because I have a concern, and I think I've raised this before in the past, is that there's a big popularity right now with black. And I don't feel that, I know that black is not a historic color for a house. In fact, almost all these houses at one time had cedar shakes, which are weathered to like a silvery gray, beigey brown, whatever. But I think that's what we should be pushing people toward, and of having them avoid black. And probably a lot of other colors too, but that's not as severe to me as a black roof on any of these houses. So I don't know what we do with that. If we want to change the guidelines and just say, you know, any color except that. I don't know.
I'd like to ask a question. So we have a large variety of inventory,
Mhm.
although most of it's, you know, probably the late 1800s within our districts. So my concern is if you've got a roof that's a parapet with an EPD, you know, DM, I mean, then it'd be acceptable to be black because.
Right. Yeah. If it's not visible from the public way, I would say it
So-
doesn't
so I have
matter.
to
Yeah.
tie That
And-
color selection to the type then,
Right.
like you had said.
Yeah.
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 So I just want to make sure that we're not going to accidentally lump in the parapet wall
Oh, no.
style roofs with this. Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
Because most of those membrane roofs are black, either black or white.
Correct.
Mhm.
And the
so-
white is actually a coating. Yeah. it's different,
So-
yeah.
Yeah, I
No, I
would
was
say that's
referring
something
to
we
the
can do
shingle.
to the asphalt shingles.
Yeah.
I mean,
Okay,
that's
I just
something
wanna
you
make
can
sure.
discuss and decide if you want to do that. That's a pretty easy change.
I
Let-
think,
Let me say something real quick. We are going to talk more about the design guideline updates later. So this is noted.
Okay.
And so I don't want to ignore, go ahead, but we'll put that on the list because we're reviewing them now and going to be making some pretty, I'm not saying it's significant, but they need to be updated. So we'll put this on there and you may see more over time. So I just want to mention that.
Great.
Go ahead, Sheree. I'm sorry to interrupt you.
No, that's it.
No.
Thank you.
Thank
no, but my comment would probably work better for later. But it's just that like to help with the staff to streamline things, that we have like a realm, that if it falls within that realm of color and type, and then they have to ask if they want to go outside that realm.
Okay. Any other questions concerning that? We'll move that on down further. We'll go to number 8.
And so this is committee reports, and right now, we've talked about this before, we don't have any committees. And I just want to toss out the idea that it might be time to think about an ad hoc committee. Maybe not, but if that was something you wanted to do. There are two things, and we'll talk more about it, that are coming up that might be worthy of this. One is and I'll talk about it in a bit, the additional survey work that, and Deb and I were talking about that in terms of updating our ratings, et cetera, and we're going to talk about that. But that's an excellent opportunity for like an ad hoc committee, I think, because there could be a lot of discussions about what's being found in the updated surveys, et cetera. You wouldn't do that in this realm. So it's something to think about. Don't have to do it today. And then the other idea was the idea of potentially having an ad hoc committee for communications and outreach. Just a smaller group being able to, again, kind of hash down how you want to do some forward communication, how you want to use the website, those ideas. So these are just ideas, no action, just some things to think about that maybe it's time. If not, we'll just keep going as we have. And that's all I have on committees, or just suggestions.
Thank you. Any questions to Wendy concerning that at this time? Okay. All right. And we'll go on to our old business. The paint workshop has been scheduled already for October the 11th from 10 to 12. And it's going to be at the Michigan City Police Station Community Room that you enter off of Hendricks. So if you go to the front of the building to go in the police station, you're on the wrong side. So if you're going down the boulevard, you turn in before you got to the police station. And then you go right up the hill and right in that door. So it will be in that room, and it will start at 10 and be over right around noon. And do you have anything to add to that?
Did we ever determine a price?
Well,
There was conversation and
we
then I don't.
talked about it, and well, Dan's not on our group anymore, but he and was it you, Larry? $5 was,
Pat
Yeah.
suggested
Yeah,
5, yeah.
and $5 had been suggested. Does that sound reasonable to everyone? And my question would be, how would we collect that?
That would be when they register on Eventbrite.
Okay,
And then if somebody walked up to the door, they could just pay at the door.
okay.
May I ask a question again, just because this is my first meeting?
Okay.
Is this designed for the commission or for the general public?
For everyone.
Okay, thank you.
We'd especially like to get homeowners in there so they know good practices on painting, good color choices for different types of buildings, that kind of thing. Yeah.
A lot of people that have bought houses in the historic district don't realize there are some restrictions on what should be used and shouldn't be used. And we have a gentleman that has done these many times coming from the historic commission to do that. So this is why we decided, and he's going to retire at the end of the year. So we wanted to get it in before that happened. So I think it will be good. My concern is I hope people do go online and register.
I hope so. I'll provide a link. I was waiting till I knew the price for sure so that I could put that up there, and I'll share that with everybody. And then you guys can get it out anywhere you want. It's just a simple Eventbrite. And also we'll make that note that you can just pay at the door too.
Okay, Pat, would you like to make a motion about the price?
I would make a motion to set the price at $5 for the paint workshop on October 11th.
I'll second.
Thank you. And we will ask Cherie,
Yes, approved.
Larry,
Yes.
Amy,
Yes.
Pat,
Yes.
Dwayne,
Yes.
Rose,
Yes.
William,
Yes.
and I also say yes. Thank you.
May I make a comment?
Yes.
I think one of the things that came up was socializing this. We need an updated flyer. We need something that we can put on the website. We need to make sure that we have a statement that is very clear on where you go to register and all that kind of stuff. So I will need to leave that to the committee. That's how we did it the last time. We just had to postpone. So I bring this up because Greg Coulter was concerned about just making sure we got the word out, that kind of thing. So I just wanted to bring that up on how that will be socialized
Okay.
with the committee.
Does anyone have
If
any?
we create a flyer, do I submit that to you in the planning office to get it put on the website?
Well, the last time it went directly to the mayor.
Okay.
I'm happy to do it, or if you want to do it like last time, but yeah, either way. I mean, it needs to be socialized with the mayor's office.
Okay. I
And then
run
we
it through
can,
the mayor's
then we can
office.
start putting it wherever, you know what I mean? Even making copies or make it available, get it up on the website, but it does need to go through the mayor's office. But you can, if you want to give it to Gianna, we'll do it. Either way,
Either way.
if you make it, we'll socialize it. How about
Okay.
that? I'll
We'll
split
make
it with you.
It's,
And we'll make copies that we can hand out. We'll make sure that they're out front. And then give it to you in a digital final in a digital form so you can share it on whatever platform and
Yeah.
make sure it gets on the website.
awesome.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Pat.
Yeah, because I know Martha Moust from the, she's the president of that, of the Edge, of the Elston Grove. So I'll make sure she gets it so she can make sure everybody in that neighborhood gets it.
Okay.
But yeah, if we had a digital flyer that I could attach to the email, that would be great.
Yep, absolutely. Okay, just wanted to mention it.
Thank you.
Okay. We'll move on then to the GIS.
Yes, so this is, and Deb, I'll ask you to chime in here if you don't mind. You know, at the last meeting, we talked about wanting to make sure that our data sets were as up to date as possible, including our GIS. And what this means is having the rating for each property at the parcel level reflected in the GIS, which we do have. And we have on the new website, there is the map widget where you can go on and you can zoom down and you can click on your property and find out all kinds of things. Now, what we also know is that from the time the historic districts were originally created and then the National Register nominations were done, some of the property ratings have changed. And so at the last meeting, we agreed that we wanted to bring those as up to date as possible. And obviously, we want to be as reflective of the National Register process as we can. So Deb was going to start working on kind of going through those and checking them to make sure they were as up to date as possible. And that's great. And we still want to do that. But it's not exactly easy the way that these nominations are now written. And in fact, Indiana Landmarks has recommended that perhaps just updating the survey would be the way to go and that they have the resources to do that. I am of the opinion that this is a great opportunity. If you've never been through a historic survey, it's a good experience to understand how that looks, how it functions. I'm going to assume this commission is going to want new surveys at some point. So I think this is a great opportunity to learn and update what we have. So I'll turn that over to Deb since she's the pro, but I just wanted to kind of tee it up because I think it's a great idea. So Deb, do you want to weigh in on that?
So at the last meeting, we talked about the discrepancies between the ratings that were in the National Register nomination and what is on this old list from heaven knows when, probably when the districts were first formed. And so I agreed to update that, and that sounded like a fairly easy project, I thought. And on day 2 into my project, I was realizing I wasn't finding anything by contributing and non-contributing ratings in the no outstanding, no notable anywhere in the National Register nomination. And I was stunned. So got a hold of our director and I said, what in the world is going on? And they're not all this way. I work with many towns. So he said, well, that one was done relatively recently compared to most of them. And he said, now they continually change the requirements for these applications. And now they only want to know if a house contributes to the district overall or whether it doesn't. So if a house burned down and somebody set in a double wide, that would be non-contributing. If it's a house that's story and a half, it's been covered with aluminum siding, it's got vinyl windows, but it still has all the shape and form of the original house, that does contribute, even though its level of integrity is not there. So the ratings that we had originally for this district are looking at the level of integrity, how much of the original material is still there. And so I was not comparing apples to apples at all. And so the state recommends, especially for certified local governments, which you're not, but it's still good to meet the state standards, just in case somebody applies for a grant or anything like that. They're looking at levels of integrity, and they're asking about every 5 to 10 years that these surveys are done. So the National Register nomination is already past 10 years anyway. The other one's back in the last century. So Todd said, let's do a survey. And so he okayed that I spend 2 or 3 days surveying here and writing down, how each one of these fits and where they ought to be. And some of them have been demolished and, things have happened, additions have been made, and making a note of why. So that if somebody came back in the future and challenged one of these, you'd have a reason. So that's what he'd like to do. And then we have a part-time staff person that would be able to format that however the city wants it, for them to then take that information and use it here.
So I recommend, I don't think there's a vote. I don't think there's any action to take unless the committee would prefer to do something different. But I think we absolutely take Indiana Landmarks up on this, and then we can socialize the approach, and Deb will provide all of that. But there's no reason to hold back, especially if they have folks. It's a great opportunity to update what we have, and those updates will go into the GIS system and be tagged accordingly. So whether everything is as up to date as possible, but I didn't want to delay getting Deb and them started. So, and we'll be able to socialize it. If you want to do a committee on this, you can. If not, we'll just do it through the whole the whole commission. So thank you for your time. Of course, if anybody has any comments.
Does
Love to
anybody
hear 'em.
have any questions or comments? I personally think it's a wonderful idea and that we should have probably done it 10 years ago, but
Probably.
So are you saying that no property is going to be rated outstanding any longer?
Well, that's the National Register nomination didn't care about that part of it. They were just looking at the district as a whole. But no, there will be, I'll go back through and look. And if the way they look at those for outstanding, it has to be almost entirely the original material. Notable has most of the material. Contributing's had a number of changes, but still retains the basic shape and form and what have you. And non-contributing has just had so many things happen to it that you don't even recognize it anymore. So, or it's new construction. So, and we've come up with a new designation that we use internally for that, which we could use here, that we make new construction non-contributing, so that people understand that it's not just because it's been severely altered, but because it was built after the period of significance for the district, if that makes sense.
Yes, it does. Any other questions? Okay, I think we're good with that. Oh, I'm sorry.
So if it's new construction, but it adheres exclusively to that time period, would that? then
There
get-
could be such a thing as contributing new construction. We haven't had much infill here, but going forward, that certainly could
I'm
happen.
thinking about an example in Hannibal, Illinois,
Mhm.
and it's been done specifically, to the T, even, sash weights. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Are you talking about that Victorian house in Hannibal?
I believe it's a queen.
Or no, it's a Gothic.
Yeah, it's got.
Yes,
revival,
I know
yeah.
exactly which
Yeah,
one. It was
yeah.
on Old House, Circa Old Houses last week.
Yeah.
Yes. Yep. Bob Yap.
Okay, we'll move on to number C, which list of contractor.
Yeah, this was an item that I added, and we'll talk a little bit more about this with the new business, but I really think it would, and I mentioned this to Deb, I really think that we need to, if we have a list of qualified contractors, particularly for window repair, we need to publish that. We get a lot of questions about this, and we need to make sure that we in the building department too are aware of these folks and that they're registered and all that. So it's just a matter of bringing that information Deb forward so that we can make it available for folks as they ask. And I'd rather just make it available on the onset. So maybe if they just wanted to call somebody and explore that themselves, they would know who they can call. You will hear me say more and more over the coming months about more resources, more upfront available information, more approved materials, clear staff recommendations, what we can approve and not approve. We really need to streamline some of this and be sensitive and thoughtful about the purpose of the commission. I would never say otherwise. But if we've got upfront information we can share with people, I think we need to do it. So that was my request for list of contractors. And in this case, it's, I think, window repair. But if there are others, I mean, we're happy to put them on. Again, we, the city, are not recommending them. What we are saying are these are folks that are qualified to do
Right.
this work. And I would leave that to Deb to decide. And then we just make sure they're licensed and registered.
I agree with Wendy because I was in a meeting with Sue Downs and several of her staff were coming in asking questions because that happens there all the time. People say they're contractors when they aren't even registered with the city. So I agree. I think that's very important. So, yeah. All right. Is everyone okay with that? We don't need, okay, thank you. Next, we have meeting dates.
Meeting dates. So as we were going through and updating the COA application, and it is updated, is on the new website. The new website also has a variety of other information that we've put up there, including how to get in contact with us. The statement of purpose is up there.
Oh, good.
As well. So if you get a chance, check it out. If you have other recommendations, as long as they're not major structural changes to the website, we can pretty much do as we please. So that feels pretty good. So check it out and let us know if you have any other thoughts. Again, we're trying to be as streamlined and upfront and give people as much information as possible. So that it's easier and they know how to get in touch with us and work through this. But as we were doing that, we noticed the meeting dates on the application, and several of them, even through the rest of this year, fall on holidays. So at the next, we didn't make recommendations for new meeting dates, but at the next meeting we will, and then we'll ask you to approve those. Okay, but we caught it and we wanted to bring it up because I know it came up before and we corrected some of them when I first got here, but I don't think we looked at all of them. So we'll just get it fixed.
Thank you.
Okay.
Wendy, along those lines. So then updates to our website, would we include the list of contractors and lists of resources there as well?
Absolutely.
So when the
I think-
public is searching, so do you want suggestions for resources?
I'm absolutely up for all of these suggestions. And
Okay.
then what, those that rise to the level of needing to be considered under the design guidelines, we'll get those taken care of there. Because we are reviewing the design guidelines now.
Well, I was just thinking of more like general help informational resources that a homeowner might go to. You could search for stuff online, but I know of some specific ones that would be great for people to go to.
I think it's a great idea and we can, and we can put that up there. We talked about even doing some things with color and making it easier for folks, for color palettes, different ideas. So yeah, I'm up for it. Just throw them at me. And even if we might even create a resource tab or something like that, but we'd be happy to. But if you think you've got a good idea or resources that would help somebody, please send them to us and we'll figure out how to incorporate them.
Will they have the ability to like put a link in there? They could click on a link that would take them to a source?
Yes.
Okay.
And if we get a lot of them, we'll just create a resource tab.
Okay.
And then we'll house them all there. But yes, and we've done that with the a lot of the updates. And so we wanted to get that out there, but there's lots more room.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
May I ask a question?
Yes.
When is our meeting scheduled for September? The reason I asked the question is that when I saw that this was on the agenda, I took a look at what's on the application. So that's all I know about is what's on the application, but that's September 23rd, which I noted was a Tuesday. And is it our understanding to have our next meeting on the fourth Tuesday?
No,
Oh.
The rest of them are on Tuesdays as well, by the way, but just concerned about our next meeting. And this would be a good time to correct it.
This is the old version, and these are 2024 dates. That's one challenge.
Okay, well, that's
So-
what's got me confused.
Well, I understand. So what we can do is, Gianna, why don't we do this? Let's go ahead and we will pull them and then make recommendations for and confirm and send those out. And then we can adopt new dates at the next meeting. Is that appropriate?
Sure. So
Well-
we can always,
the next meeting should be the 29th.
Mm, no, the 22nd.
22nd.
Oh, I just lost my calendar.
That's okay. So it's the fourth
Monday.
Monday, right?
Yeah.
I have it
Oh.
here. It is the 22nd.
Okay, so I mean, we could go ahead and just say, let's go ahead and make that change now, right? And adopt that, and then we can present to you any other changes for the rest of the year.
So it's going to be on the 3rd.
No, that's the fourth, because the first is a Monday. So
No, I meant in my September, the 4th Monday is the 29th. Am I looking at a wrong year?
Yeah, it's the 22nd.
it's the 22nd, because the first is a Monday as well.
Right there.
Oh, sorry.
Okay, it's okay.
I had nothing to drink before I.
Maybe that's the problem. No.
I'm sorry.
So yeah, we can do the 22nd and just agree on that, and then we will look at the rest and make a proposal in case there's something odd, and then you guys can just make
Very
sure
good.
we're all good.
Thank you.
Good, okay. Thank you. I appreciate that. We don't want to confuse anybody. We want to make sure that we got it straight. So we're working on it. And those are the meeting dates. That was the discussion. Thank you so much.
Okay. Okay, we'll go to the next on our list, work session with the UEA and the RDC.
Yes, so we don't have any action on this yet since we have Cherie with us now, who is our RDC rep. I think it'd be great to move this forward and see if we can get this scheduled by the end of the year. We do need a little prep. We want to get our map straight. We want to get kind of an agenda pulled together and then reach out to them and find a time. So we haven't done it yet, but I think it's important. There's a lot of overlap between the UEA, the RDC and the historic districts. And some of this is significant when you start to look at funding. So I think it just would be a great overall effort, and I haven't forgotten, but we were kind of waiting. And so now that we are, we'll explore that and we'll get back to the commission with our recommendation.
I have a question about that. So is the intended purpose of that to kind of define the roles, or is it like, what is the intended purpose of the workshop?
The intended purpose of the work session is to clarify everyone's role, where the overlap is, how the overlap impacts each other. For example, the Urban Enterprise Association gives out grants to homeowners to do repair to their homes. Well, some of those homes are in the historic district. Last year, there was a grant procured, windows were purchased, and they didn't meet the standards. And so they ended up having to be donated, and all of the grant money was lost to that homeowner. Now, no one intended that. It's just one of those things. At the same time, when you look at other aspects of what the UEA is trying to do, there's overlap with the Redevelopment Commission and the TIFs and how we do certain things. So it seemed like a great opportunity to just kind of shake it out, clarify who does what, where the overlap is, why does it matter, right? And to kind of make sure that everybody's on the same page so that we're serving everybody the same, but everybody is also honoring the mission of their purpose, even though we're stacked up against each other sometimes. So that was the intention. It really is learning and sharing and making sure we're not inadvertently creating a problem, because nobody wants that. So that was the point.
Thank you.
The positive to that too is resources that this commission wasn't aware of that's out there with these other commissions.
Could be, yeah. Maybe
Yeah.
there's an opportunity to rack and stack. I mean, how do we do better, right? If we've got money, then we want our homeowners to get it, and then we want them to give them advice to do the best thing they can, right? So absolutely.
Yeah.
It's meant to be very positive.
Thank you.
Yep.
Okay, we'll go to F, which is the letter.
So this is the letter to the redevelopment commission. Again, the redevelopment commission has the letter. Now that Sharia is on board, I think it'd be, and I know it didn't come up at the redevelopment commission meeting because there was way too many other things going on. But just as with the work session, we'll follow up on this. We know we have the facade grant program that is administered to the redevelopment commission. There is overlap between the facade grant program area and the historic districts and the UEA. There's another one, right? And how do we maximize that? Are there other resources available from the redevelopment that can help? Maybe not, but then it just allows us to talk about that. So we'll get to that one next time. Okay.
Okay. And we'll go to the last one there, 813 Franklin's.
Yeah, and it's actually, is it 8? Okay, that is the one. All right, so that is the old Hokkaido. If you remember, we were talking earlier about the door placement. They are to come back to us, staff review with the door that's selected. She did email us earlier in the week that they're still working on it. So as soon as they get that, we'll make sure Deb has it and pass it around and then share that, even though it's staff approval. So I just wanted to share that she's been very communicative and they're still working on it. And so nothing's happened yet. The door is incredibly a visible thing. So we want to make sure we get that straight. So that is 813 Franklin update.
Okay. All right, now we will go to new business.
So we have, and please feel free to weigh in, but I wanted to thank Dan Granquist for his service on the board. Dan runs a great meeting, just bottom line. And I said that to him and when I explained the changes that were going on, because Mr. Granquist is no longer part of the Plan Commission, he is not the Plan Commission rep. And he is, of course, very gracious about that. At our last meeting, he was able to also step up and help us. And I just wanted to acknowledge, and I just think he was great to work with. So wanted to say thank you to him publicly for his service. And we hope to see him again sometime soon.
He does a great job. Okay, and we want to have a little welcome, which I think we already kind of did,
Already kind of did.
to our two new members. We appreciate you being here. And I've never met Cherie before, but I've met Rose several times. Yes, you did. Yes, you did. But I didn't know who you were.
Ah.
But yes, I appreciate that. And thank you so much for saying yes. We appreciate that. And we
And I-
appreciate your background and experience with the group. So thank you.
I want to say thank you too, because I think, and Dan brought this up and actually a couple months ago. And just looking, and Gianna and I have looked at this, and just looking at the commission and making sure that we're honoring the statute as best that we can with, the makeup of the commission. And I do think it's great to have a redevelopment commission member here. All of this stuff sits on top of each other. We do better by having a more correlated and coordinated group. And obviously Plan Commission is extremely important. So Rose, we appreciate you being here too. So welcome and glad to have your expertise on board.
It's very important. Going back to when I was fairly new on this board, a major thing happened at the redevelopment that we knew nothing about, and phone calls were coming in like crazy. So it is very important to share. So thank you again. Okay. Now we are going to go to C, which is the fee.
Fee implementation. We are implementing the $50 COA application fee starting September 2nd. We've talked about this for many months and I hadn't done it yet because we weren't ready. And I think we are ready now. We're working with the controller's office. This information will be up on the website. I have encouraged folks and been telling folks that have sent applications in that this is coming. And so to give some thought, if they're going to be doing more work in the next year, put it in now. Let's go ahead and process your COA. Because there will be a fee associated. This fee was approved by council last September. And the fee approved was $50. So we will have this on the website. We will work with our applicants. That's why we were trying to get our communications on the website streamlined. We don't want this to make things difficult. We will be encouraging folks to think in a very robust way about the work that they're doing. So that they don't come back. It's like, well, I'm going to fix the rail. Oh, I think, I want to fix this too. Maybe think a little bit more comprehensively, because the goal is not to ding folks every time. So, 714 comprehensive, right? That's the way to go. So we'll do our best to encourage folks and work them through it, but the time has come, so it will be September 2nd.
Thank you. Any questions? Okay. We will go on to D then, which is design guidelines review.
Yes, we are in the process of, just since we've gone through the website and we reposted the PDF of the design guidelines. As Gianna and I started to look through them, we began to realize there were updates that needed to be done. In some cases, it's just contact name or phone number, or there's an email address that doesn't work anymore, or something else has changed. We have links that are broken. They don't go anywhere, or maybe they don't go where we think they should go. So these are just cleanup things. So we're just working on those. Some of the things that are in the front of the design guidelines, we're actually pulling out and just putting on the website. They don't need to be tucked in there. That way it's easier to update them. So we'll keep you abreast of those. Gianna's going through those now. Talk to Deb about a couple of them, just questions. And again, coming down to approved materials. Boy, I really can't encourage everybody enough. And not that I'm a pro, as we just build our, I'll say, toolkit for what's good. That way people don't question, because a lot of times they'll say, well, what do you think we should do? Right, Kyle? And we want to be able to give them as much upfront as possible to be able to do good work. So this is just add-on and positives, but that's what we're doing right now. So I just wanted to let everybody know. And to that point, we can go through and we can have conversation. Hey, let's go ahead and update the guidelines for roof and color. I mean, now would be the time, and even small things, we can do it. Let's do it. I am going to create a more comprehensive table for staff recommendations. For staff approvals, and may ask for additional leeway in some of those to keep things moving, but that will also be up to you guys. So we'll just keep working on it. It's a nice work in progress, but I think folks have appreciated it. Now that the new website is up there, we're really able to capitalize on getting the latest and greatest up there and trying to be more responsive to folks. So that was what I had on the design guideline review.
Well, I want to thank you and Gianna, because you two have really been remarkable, and I really appreciate that. Thank you. So now we will go to 817 Washington.
This I'm bringing up because to me, this was a sign that maybe things are turning around, and I think there's some positive activity here. So here's one. 817 Washington Street is a property that someone who wants to do historic restoration is wanting to purchase. And he didn't want to go through and purchase the property if he didn't think the restoration would be acceptable, right? This gentleman also has been looking at various properties throughout the city and submitting just thoughtful questions and trying to make good decisions. And so I said, well, if you help me, I'll help you. And so he went ahead and prepared a full COA application. You will see it. We didn't fully submit it because he wasn't sure if he was going to do this. So kind of ran this by Deb, just as I'll say a pre-consultation, because it was cool to have somebody want to restore something or make it more, congruent or change its rating. So I went ahead and said, well, let me run this by Deb. And she was gracious enough to look at it and provide some feedback. And this application, y'all need to look at this. This is great.
Oh,
I
That's
thought.
what that is. I was wondering what.
yeah.
Detail, and again, not unlike 714, Kyle did a great job too. Just really being thoughtful about giving us as much as possible. And you tend to think, oh, that's bad. No, it isn't. The more, the merrier. But this is a great application. So I'm really hoping he purchases the property and comes back, because it'd be cool to see something changed to maybe increase the rating. We'll see that. I'll leave that to others. Deb, I didn't know if you wanted anything to add, but I thought this was a great change of pace.
Yeah. No comment. Okay.
Okay, so that was it. I just thought it would be good to share something positive and proactive with the group, and that is all I have under new business.
Okay. And then we will go to staff comment.
So that's me too. You know, again, I want to say thank you to Gianna, and I want to say thank you to all of you for the work that we've and our applicants on just trying to make things easier, working with the building department, trying to process things that make sense, and to make sure we're paying more attention to things that need to have some additional thought. And I think it's been a great effort. We're continuing to make good progress. I do, as the Public Works Director, I do want to say this. Safety has to come first. And you'll always hear that from me. And I think it's, you know, we just worked through 714 and Deb, thank you for working so closely with Kyle and Sue and making sure that, because we got a good team, we can make good decisions. And I like the way that went. But I want to be thoughtful about the building code. Building code is state code. And it can be, I'll leave it to Sue Downs as the commissioner to be able to speak to that, but I will not support anything that is not safe. And I just wanted to say, and I'm sure you feel the same way. So it's a staff comment that's out there. It's not a comment at anyone. And this includes windows. I was a little concerned about the back and forth that went on with 631 Spring Street. I'll be honest with you. That was, it ended up wonderful. Everybody did the right thing. And I mean, everybody did the right thing. And I think that we ended up with a good outcome. So, but as we think about emergency egress windows, it is important that people be able to get out of their apartment. If it is zoned properly, they got to be able to get out. We ended up with a good compromise. I just think in the future, maybe we can head some of those off at the pass too during the review and maybe get ahead of it. But under no circumstances should we put the look of something in front of the safety of something when we can do something about the look of it. So I just wanted to mention that because I think other people are concerned, but I think this group did a great job. I think the petitioner did a great job. And, you know, as long as it's safe, I'm good. So even compromise is also a good thing. So that's all I have on staff reports. I just really appreciate all the work everyone has done. It's been an incredible couple months. So thanks for your patience as well.
Does any of the board have a comment they would like to make? Okay. Any public comment? Since you're only public, now's your chance.
There's your chance, Kyle.
We'll give you a second chance. Thank you, thank you. May I have a motion?
I'd like to make the motion for us to adjourn.
Second,
I'll second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.